of inspirational people of Polish background around the world. And Jakub is definitely an inspiration. So I've never actually met him in person, but we spoke a number of times via Zoom and on the phone, and he is someone that is very inspirational. And let me tell you why. So Jakub was born in Poland in the city of Warsaw, which is a very beautiful city. If you haven't been, really worth a visit. But he's moved to the UK about 10 years ago, and he's made a career in all kinds of very, very interesting areas, including tech and a couple of foundations. And he's also in event management and a little bit of language teaching, all kinds of very diverse activities. But today we wanted to talk to Jakub about two initiatives that are kind of interconnected. One of it is called the Plugin Foundation, and the other one is Polish Tech Day, which has been going on for about 7 years. This is the 7th edition, and we wanted for him to tell us about all the challenges and everything else that's going on in London, in UK, generally speaking, and also amongst the Polish community, which is very sizable. I think there's still something like 1 million people of Polish background in the UK. Do you know, Jakub?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that, especially. That was lifted after the EU accession in 2004. So yes, it is a very, very substantial number.
Excellent. And tell us a bit more about your work in the two spaces that I've just described. So the first one would be a plugin, and if you are not receiving their newsletter, sign up, because it's an amazing publication. It's really rich in very useful information. And then the Polish Tech Day is actually an initiative that's very progressive in terms of who it connects and who it talks to and what it covers. So can I get you to tell us a bit more about both of these initiatives, Jakub, please?
Absolutely, with pleasure. So welcome again, regardless if it's morning or afternoon on your end. And as I was introduced, I'm working for a foundation called Plugin Foundation, and our main mission is simply to unite Polish diaspora, technology diaspora all over the world. The most important thing is that we have our members all over the world, from Singapore, San Francisco, Warsaw, London, Paris, which simply means that we create the space for everyone to connect and just exchange ideas. And at Plugin, we have various projects. The biggest one, as you just mentioned, is Polish Tech Day, which as you might imagine, is the biggest conference of ours, where we simply want to bring people of Polish heritage or who are Polish, but not only, because we actually want to expand and bring people from Central Eastern Europe in one place. Originally, it was London. Originally, last edition, it was at Google headquarters in central London, so very nice place, which definitely helped people to interact and exchange business cards. From 2020, of course, we moved online with the last edition in July 2020 being online. However, the next one will be special, will be a hybrid event, and will happen in spring of 2021.
Okay, so that sounds like really exciting plans, and I think one of the things that really interested me about the foundation and the work you do is that nowadays everybody needs to be pretty agile. The events of the world have been pretty dire and pretty difficult, and really tragic for people that have lost their loved ones. But I think out of any adversity like that, opportunity comes. And what I was hoping you could cover is how do you see the situation as an opportunity? Because you talked about connecting people essentially and acting as a bridge. And I think it's also fair to say, I don't know if you agree, that there are a lot of very clever Polish people or people of Polish heritage in the tech space, and it's not really well known, globally. So I think some of your efforts are to do with publicizing that. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's why we created those various projects, which I will tell you about in a second. However, just going back to your first question about the opportunity, clearly the situation is unprecedented, and we have to adapt as soon as possible. It's not always an opportunity, of course, for the actual online events industry. It is an opportunity. However, rather than just thinking only from the business perspective, which is also important, we simply try to mimic the experience of meeting people, regardless of the barriers which we have right now, regardless if you can't really leave your country or fly even to the UK. So that's, I think, is the massive asset, and that's we're quite proud that we can bring this value. And the second question was about the mimicking of networking. And absolutely right. Not only we always try to do introductions and make people meet at our conferences. However, this year actually, the most recent edition, we had a special app which simply allowed you to go through everyone's profile, see which topics they are interested in, if it is GovTech or EduTech, Clean Tech or FinTech, and then connect with that person via our dedicated app, which simply meant that we could just make those people meet regardless if they are in London, Singapore, San Francisco, Paris, etc. So that was something very, very nice, and we were actually quite proud of it.
And tell me, and this is a very abstract and difficult question to answer, I think, but what makes Polish people clever? So is it the upbringing? You know, so in case you don't know, I was born there and I was brought up there, where, you know, certainly education was very much valued, and we had two types of people. I don't know if this is still the case amongst the younger generation, but you had those that were creatives, so, you know, very much into languages, and then you had scientific brains, or umysły ścisłe. And I think there's a very high number of young people in Poland that are university educated. The last time I checked, 45% of Poles were under the age of 25, have university education. But tell me, what do you think makes Poland so progressive? Because, you know, let's be honest, we read stuff about Poland that, you know, we kind of want to hide a little bit sometimes. You know, it's not always positive news, but I think this is really amazing positive news, and something that we should be celebrating. And that is that in the tech space, Poland's very progressive and very clever. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would definitely split this question into two parts. The first one, it will be quite challenging for me to say. I mean, of course we are. Of course, being an immigrant, I moved to the UK 10 years ago, makes me realize that people who simply change their places and move from one place to another are quite motivated, of course, and they are very driven by achieving a success. That is not only, of course, for Polish people. However, I believe that thanks to the EU accession in 2004, we had this opportunity to actually go to another country. And it was great experience for me when I moved to the UK 10 years ago. I moved there to study to eventually two British universities. Nevertheless, I always felt connected to everyone who moved to the UK. Because that was never a problem for me to actually, I had a really interesting spectrum of friends, from those who went there to study at Oxford, and for those who simply went there to make some meets. And both of these groups were very motivated and hardworking, regardless of their position. So that was something I was really proud of. I believe, I don't know if it's only Polish traits. However, I think that it's something that is distinctive for those who moved to let's say Western Europe in the recent 15 years, and of course beyond Europe, that's also true.
Right. And what drives you, Jakub? So you get up every morning, and what happens in your head? Like what is because I think a lot of the work you do is definitely creative, right? Because you know, if something doesn't exist and you're making it, it's like, I don't know, it's like giving birth to a baby, right? But not everybody can withstand the pace. You know, you have to have a pretty thick skin, I think, to work in this space as well. And you have to juggle things and make a living at the same time as you know, as the foundation grows. What drives Jakub?
A chance to have an impact and do something special for the community. When I left country 10 years ago, of course, I still have all my family in Poland, etc. I still have friends there. However, I always wanted to be a part of something bigger. That's one thing. I realized that when I was a student, I attended multiple events for students, not students only, however, that they were dedicated for our students community. By the way, there are almost 8,000 people, students studying in the UK. This might change after Brexit, unfortunately. However, it is still a great place to study. And I realized that this potential simply, it weren't only occasions to party. However, we did party hard, I have to say. However, it was a great chance to simply meet other people with the same shared experience of moving abroad, of trying to cope in a different country, regardless if you were studying or working in Subway, which by the way I worked for a year, and that was great. And I think that was the motivation to actually, when I stopped being a student, to create a similar thing. And luckily, I met great people from Plugin Foundation, and even that their biggest project among many is called Polish Tech Day. So this technology day, not only for Polish people, however, for just migrants who came from Central Eastern Europe. The biggest group, of course, is our Poles. So we simply wanted to do something for them.
Mm-hmm. And Jakub, where is home? What do you consider home? Or is home in your head, like it is for me? I feel comfortable everywhere, but have you ever reached that point where you're just not really quite sure where home is?
No, I'm definitely sure where it is. And it's absolutely fine for me to accept that I have multiple homes. Okay. And you just realize that, after some time. I think trying to find a home is a thought that every migrant tries to answer. It's a question that every migrant tries to answer. However, after some time, you simply accept that it's where you feel the best. And I feel great both in Poland and the UK. I quite likely wouldn't be able to live a whole year only in the UK or only in Poland. So I'm always on the move.
And you can choose. That's the good thing about, being
Yes.
a global citizen.
Choice is good. Yes.
Yeah. Choice is good. Options are good. So just going back to the foundation, could you just give us a summary of what it does? How many people are involved? Other than the Polish Tech Day, what other initiatives do you get involved in? What and also, what are your dreams? Where are things heading?
Absolutely, thank you. So in very short, Plugin Foundation, we have something around 20 up to 30 people, all of us working remotely, dedicating our extra time. We are based in various places all over the world. And by this, I simply mean that clearly a big part of the community is based in Poland. However, all my friends who are also working for the organization are based in the UK, in London, in Scotland too. We have people who are also connecting with us from Singapore or San Francisco or Paris. So we don't have one headquarter, let's put it this way. When it comes to our projects, we have three major projects. Polish Tech Day, of course, is the biggest one, but not the only one. Quite recently, we had our Ambassadors of Polish Innovation Awards, and the award went to Tomasz Bagiński, so the famous director, illustrator. We're quite proud of that. We could just promote people who are creating something very interesting as actually going outside of Poland. And also we have the competition which is called Pitch to London, which simply is a startup competition. Last time in July 2020, we brought 6-7 startups. Extremely startup won the award. Extremely is a startup, is a Polish startup that works in the gaming industry. And the biggest thing, of course, is Polish Tech Day, which I will spend a minute to actually explaining what is that. Right. So in short, Polish Tech Day, yep.
Yeah, go.
Polish Tech Day 7th edition will be in spring 2021. The exact time will be soon announced. The very idea is that it will be a full day packed of interesting sessions with speakers from all over the world. The key idea is to discuss key technology and innovation trends. However, bringing people who are either startup creators or work within the industry, technology industry, who work with Polish people or are Polish or are investors, and discuss how we can grow this industry. Technology is quite inclusive. That's why I love technology because that simply means that if you are creative enough, you can have some great ideas for business, and that's why I think there is a great chance for Poland. However, that's not only this, because our main focus, actually, we have two main focuses. The first one is the community, because we want to engage multiple Polish and not only Polish organizations to bring them on stage and also work with them, because online events are interesting, but they're missing a very important component of this immersion. That's one thing. And second of all, of the connection with local communities. And second of all, is the networking, which for us is the key value. You simply can attend multiple events. However, without this interaction with your audience, it's just another show, which is great, but we have plenty of them. We're going to have, again, a very interactive app. We're going to do business introductions. We're going to do attendee matchmaking, simply to make sure that people not only come to listen, which is great. However, after 8 hours of listening, you really want to have a break, where people actually come to connect and meet other either industry peers or people with whom they share the same story of living in the country, creating something from scratch. This is actually quite exciting, quite fascinating. What motivates people to go out of their comfort zone and create something from zero. So that's why we believe Polish Tech Day will be quite interesting event, worth noting in your calendar.
Hey, listen, if I can travel, I'll be there, that's for sure. But it's really interesting how you talked about it being more inclusive. And I think that also means more accessible, because the type of hybrid setups that people are going towards is that, I think moving forward, even if we have a face-to-face event, it'll always be streamed, because we've now learned that not everybody can travel, not everybody can be there the whole day. So I think creating that accessibility and inclusivity is definitely something that resonates with a lot of people. And what I wanted to ask you now is, how do we support you? What do you need from us, the bigger community, the Australians that are of Polish background, the Americans that have Polish heritage? What is it that we can do to support your great initiative?
First of all, go to our website, which is www.polishtechday.com, where you'll simply see what I was talking about for the last 20 odd minutes. Please do it. It's not only will give you a vibe, what do we do, but also there'll be an option to sign in for a newsletter, which simply means that in the next weeks, you will receive a message when will we organize the next Polish Tech Day. It will be the 7th edition. Most importantly, you don't have to actually go outside of your home, simply because we're going to have online streaming of this conference, which means that, okay, you can watch it. You'll also be given an app next year, of course, where you'll be able to connect with other Polish, but not only attendees. Most importantly, if you are actually not only from Australia, or if you're actually willing to travel to Europe, we're going to organize local meetups which will happen in London, in Paris, in Warsaw, potentially also in other European capitals, simply to bring this networking back. These meetups will be quite likely only for 30, maximum 50 people, because we also want to make sure that they will be safe. Nevertheless, this idea of a hybrid event where we can bring people, if you can travel, that's amazing. If you can't, you still be able to take the most out of it using technology.
Right, and I think it's also fair to say that by creating this energy and enthusiasm, you are connecting people on different levels, and like everyone's got a slightly different way they communicate or learn, and I think giving people options like the ones you're talking about is definitely the way that the world is heading. I think we've learned, and we're still learning a lot through this crisis, through this pandemic, but I think we also rethinking how we work and how we're going to live in this. We in Australia here they call it COVID normal, which I really dislike. I mean, I understand the concept, but everybody does want to get back to normal, whatever that means. But that normal will probably look a little bit different, and I think maybe some of the conversations that you'll have next spring will be around that, about how to how to move forward from this pretty bad situation that we are in at the moment. Are there any sort of innovations around communication that you've seen through Polish Tech Day?
Definitely, we're really pleased to adopt the technology of introductions and the application which you download to your either iPhone or Android. That helped because it simply means that you could not only connect with people, but you could stay in touch with them before and after the event. We're actually going to organize a day before and day after the networking days. So the actual content will be a full day. However, before and after, you'll be still able to connect with people. Because again, that for me is the biggest impact. It's great for the audience to listen to me or to us or to our speakers. That's amazing. And we can do it using technology. However, if they can find new job opportunities, if they can find new people with whom they can do business, if they can find people with whom that they might even come back to Poland one day, or even exchange ideas or learn language, that's the actual value. So we simply want to give tools to the community, and whatever they do with that, that's amazing. I think that they will have plenty of ideas. Again, even when I will be speaking with sponsors and partners, I will be encouraging them, if you have job opportunities in technology sector, let us know. We'll put it on our website. I think it'll be quite amazing if somebody actually got a job, especially right now, as many of us are actually worried about this. And if we could do these introductions and these potentially interviews during our conference, amazing, great chance.
Yeah, and that's the value that you bring to the Polish diaspora, not just the Polish diaspora. It's not about creating silos. It's about having those conversations
Absolutely
across different platforms. So just a reminder for everyone: the website is polishtechday.com. Am I right?
It is indeed. It is indeed polishtechday.com. The next edition will be spring 2021. The event, which is quite important, will be for free. So all you have to do is to sign up to our newsletter, and you'll get the best updates.
Yeah, and look, I do have to say that I get your newsletter, and it's got really, really good content, very interesting, well written. It is in English, if I'm not wrong, although I may have lost my.
It is indeed, yes.
Yes, but it's got a lot of really valuable curated content that reads really well, and there's always something in there that I didn't know. So yeah, sign up. I'm going to hand over to Andrea for some questions because I can see we've got a couple.
Yes, thank you, Eva and Jacob. We wanted to ask you, Jacob, how do we get involved in Polish Tech Day, or even in the Plugin Foundation? If someone wants to volunteer, how they can get in contact with you and the foundation?
Absolutely, a very good question. The best starting point will be actually to, let me just tell you my email address. You will find contact email address on our website, which I believe is contact@weareplug.in. However, also you can contact me directly. It's my name.surname, which is Kuba, Kuba, .Janas, JANAS, @weareplug.in. And I'll be actually very pleased to welcome volunteers, organizations. Again, we're doing it for you, so absolutely we're welcome.
We'll put your contact details up on our socials as well. So if anyone is interested, or you can also reach out to us. I also have a question, Andrea. Sorry to butt in. Somebody's asking whether you can think of any success stories that kind of developed out of your initiatives.
Absolutely. So I'll give you an example with the, as I said, we have different projects. One of them is called Pitch to London, which is the pitching competition. It always happens during the Polish Tech Day. Many of our startups not only won the awards, got the award, which was either money, advice, legal support, but also we tried to promote them as much as possible. So in this case, if you are a business entrepreneur, if you work actually for the tech industry, it might be a chance for you to be either linked with business partners or simply potentially win the competition and be promoted even further. So I think that's the best example of that. And again, the next year, we simply want to do something for everyone, because not everyone is actually a startup owner. That's why we thought about the business matching. Our own introductions based on your tags, which you're going to tag yourself if you're interested in technology, in GovTech, in FinTech, etc. And ideally, the place where the companies could just put information about the job offers. So I think that would be a massive impact, especially right now.
Right. So it sounds like all of that you're doing is pretty meaningful. I'm just going to check with Andrea if there are any other questions.
Yes, there's one more question for Jacob. So if you could remind everyone, in which language is this delivered? So basically the Polish Tech Day, and if someone wants to participate in the Plugin Foundation, do they need to speak Polish or can they speak English?
No, the English will, sorry, the event actually will be always is in English, which simply facilitates the communication. Please remember, for many years, we not only worked with Google in London, we also hosted our events at Polish Embassy, bringing Polish and UK businesses, because that was our primary focus. We then expanded, which simply means that English is the best working language. And within our organization, we also have people who are not Polish. We all speak English, which simply means that we are as inclusive as we can be. And if you have motivation, if you have energy, absolutely, please join us. I'll be very pleased to introduce you to our to my colleagues, because yes, we are looking for people with full of energy.
That's an excellent summary, Jakub. On behalf of Polaron and myself, thank you so much. That was really interesting. And as I said at the beginning, I do feel very inspired. And now that I know and our audience knows a bit more about what you do, what you're about, I would strongly encourage everybody to go to the website, check out the newsletter, sign up, and get into that conversation, because it sounds like a very valuable initiative that enriches people's lives in many different ways, and especially now when we might have to stay at home, some of us more than others. Hello, Melbourne. And I'll put a special request to my Australian government to let me out of here in spring of next year. I'd very much be looking forward to meeting you in person one day, and best of luck with everything you do. It sounds really inspirational. So thank you so much for spending your early morning and our afternoon with us.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.